Hi, Paraton Weather Meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday, June 30th, the last day of the month of June, and we have a lot to talk about this morning. First of all, we want to talk about the tropical situation in the Atlantic Ocean. A wave came off the west coast of Africa last week, and I was especially concerned about it going forward, and it certainly still looks like a threat that we may have to deal with next week, the beginning part of the month of July. We'll talk about that. We still have some intense heat around the nation, especially in the northwestern part of the nation and the northeastern part of the nation. And the next few days, we'll see some torrential rainfall in places like the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S., as a slow-moving frontal system interacts with some of this hot and humid air. Watch out for localized flooding, places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, anytime from later tonight through the days on Thursday and Friday, leading to a cooler than normal weekend for much of the northeastern part of the nation. Let's first talk about the tropical situation. We had a wave move off the west coast of Africa in this fashion over the last several days, and this is that particular wave, and it is continuing to move on a west-northwest track. There is another wave that has formed out ahead of it. Doesn't have much future to it, but this is the wave I've been concerned about right from its start, as basically it will encounter more and more favorable atmospheric conditions for development, and that is why we really have to watch it, especially once it gets out into the Caribbean Sea, something we could be dealing with next week, first week of July. But again, this is that wave that came off of the African west coast last week, something to monitor closely over the next several days. And let's take a look at those sea surface temperatures. This map from tropicaltidbits.com across the tropical Atlantic Ocean. Specifically what I'm talking about here, this is the west coast of Africa right here, and that wave exited the west coast last week over some cool waters in the far eastern Atlantic Ocean, cooler than normal for this time of the year. The storm itself right now, the tropical system, is around this location right here. So still over some cooler than normal waters in the tropical Atlantic. But watch as it continues farther and farther to the west-northwest into the Caribbean Sea. Some warmer than normal waters, not only in the western Gulf of Mexico, but the western half of the Caribbean Sea. And this is the area where it could really become a problem for the Gulf of Mexico, for the southeast U.S. Sometime later next week. So again, it is moving from less favorable conditions to more favorable conditions over the next few days as it moves over warmer and warmer waters relative to normal in the Caribbean Sea and ultimately into the Gulf of Mexico. Something we'll keep an eye on probably for the next week to 10 days or so. Well, another big story is the potential for some torrential rain into the mid-Atlantic region over the next few days. D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, for example, as we transition in that part of the nation from the extreme heat and humidity of today to cooler than normal conditions by Friday and for the upcoming holiday weekend. That transition will feature some torrential rainfall, especially from later tonight through the days on Thursday and Friday. This is a total precipitation forecast for rainfall amounts for the next 3 days, from this morning, Wednesday morning, to Saturday morning. And again, especially focused on Thursday and Thursday night into the day on Friday. There will be some strong storms, torrential downpours in the I-95 corridor region. Certainly anybody can receive 2, 3, 4 inches of rain between Wednesday night and Friday night, Saturday morning, and that threat of rain will continue into the day on Saturday as well. Some significant rainfall out across much of the Ohio Valley as well. And in Mexico, there's some rainfall associated with the remains of a tropical system, even some moisture into the southwestern states with an easterly flow, kind of a monsoonal flow of moisture, producing some scattered showers and thunderstorms all the way from New Mexico and Arizona into eastern California over the next 3 days. The northern plains stays dry right into the upcoming long holiday weekend. Well, let's take a look at last night's 6E run of the GFS. First, we're looking at 850 millibar temperature anomalies The intense heat in the Pacific Northwest has shifted to the east. Places like Portland, Seattle, Spokane did reach their all-time high temperatures. Portland on Monday afternoon soared all the way up to 116 degrees, and they actually dropped off quite significantly in the overnight hours on Monday night going into Tuesday, with a cooler breeze coming in off the Pacific Ocean. Temperatures dropped some 50 degrees or so. Portland today, probably upper 80s. Certainly cooled down from the intense heat, but again, many spots in that part of the U.S., Pacific Northwest, and southwestern Canada, British Columbia reached their all-time high temperature records, and this is still well above normal as we begin the day here on Wednesday. The darker colors here represent some 30 degrees Celsius above normal for this time of the year. Meanwhile, much of the southwestern part of the nation, the southern Rockies, cooler than normal, but the Northeast, hot and humid. D.C., Philadelphia, New York City should see temperatures again today well up in the 90s with high humidity as well. But watch what happens, especially in this part of the nation, as we move closer and closer to the holiday weekend. We have an upper level low and associated cooler than normal conditions dropping southward through the Great Lakes by the end of the work week. This is now the Friday afternoon forecast map, and we really have cooler than normal conditions as we begin the upcoming weekend. Saturday morning all the way from northern New England, cutting across the heartland into the eastern part of the Rockies, the southern part of the Rockies. Cooler than normal conditions remains hotter than normal up across much of Canada and in the Pacific Northwest. Not quite as hot as what we've experienced the past few days. This is Saturday morning. Again, these are more reasonable temperatures compared to what they experienced Sunday, Monday into Tuesday. But again, cooler than normal conditions across much of the eastern two-thirds of the nation. And it'll tend to warm up just like Memorial Day weekend, where the weather improved throughout that weekend from Saturday to Monday in the I-95 corridor region of the Mid-Atlantic region. The same thing should happen this 4th of July weekend, with the worst weather probably Saturday and probably the best weather on Monday. Places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and surrounding areas. With the departure of the clouds by Monday, temperatures will jump too on Monday compared to what we'll experience on Saturday, which will be below normal for this time of the year. Let's move forward now through the upcoming weekend. Here we go. By the time we get to Monday, sunshine returns after an unsettled Saturday and Sunday in the Mid-Atlantic region. With the return of sunshine, temperatures go back up into the 80s. Still cooler than normal across the south central states, warmer than normal out across much of the western U.S. Well, two areas of the country that have experienced some hotter than normal conditions. Of course, the Pacific Northwest, excessively hot conditions, all as a result of strong upper level ridge. And this is still situated out across the southwestern part of Canada as we begin the day on Wednesday. The orange here representing higher heights than normal, and you can have a strong upper level ridge situated right in this region that certainly is correlated with the extreme heat. Look at this in the northeastern part of the nation, also higher heights than normal, and yet one more day of hot and humid conditions. Again, well up in the 90s this afternoon in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. Now, let's move forward here and watch the changes that are about to be undertaken here with this upper level low sliding across the Great Lakes by the time we get to the end of the work week. This is the Friday morning forecast map. That upper level ridge disappears, upper level low moves into the eastern part of the Great Lakes and then right over the Mid-Atlantic region as we begin the holiday weekend. No doubt that will cause some unstable atmospheric conditions on Saturday in the Mid-Atlantic region, and that could result in additional showers and thunderstorms. That's on top of whatever falls from late today through the day on Friday. That time period will feature some heavy rain in the Mid-Atlantic region. The good news is it doesn't stick around all weekend long. This is the Sunday morning forecast map. upper level low already starting to exit off the coast. Sunday will be a better day, weather day, than it will be on Saturday. And then by the time we get to Monday, the holiday itself, July 5th, that system exits off the New England coastline, the return of plenty of sunshine in the I-95 corridor region, in the Mid-Atlantic region, and with that return of plenty of sunshine on Monday, temperatures will jump back up into the 80s after being confined to the 70s on Saturday and Sunday. Meanwhile, across much of the northern U.S., still above normal temperatures and higher heights than normal going right through the holiday weekend. Well, how does all this translate down to the surface level? Let's look at the surface forecast maps. And again, heavy rain is on the table for the Mid-Atlantic region from Wednesday night into the upcoming weekend. Some areas will see torrential downpours with localized flooding, perhaps 2, 3, 4 inches of rain on the table for places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and all surrounding suburban areas. Here we go. Much of today will be rain-free in the Mid-Atlantic region while temperatures soar into the middle 90s. But by the end of the day, and certainly into the overnight hours, there'll be an increasing chance of showers and thunderstorms, especially north of the Mason-Dixon line. Any thunderstorm that does develop late today and tonight in the northeastern quadrant of the nation can be on the strong side with torrential rain and gusty winds, and that holds true for Thursday and Thursday night as well. And as we move forward here, notice a frontal system kind of slowly works its way into the Mid-Atlantic region. This is the forecast map for Thursday evening, tomorrow evening. Heavy rainfall absolutely on the table for Thursday and Thursday night throughout the I-95 corridor, throughout the Mid-Atlantic region. Any shower or storm can produce a lot of rainfall in a short period of time with these potential torrential downpours. Notice out here across much of the higher terrain in the western U.S., a lot of green showing up. Be high terrain type showers and thunderstorms. Again, kind of a monsoonal flow over the next couple of days in the southwestern part of the nation, really throughout much of the interior western part of the nation. And any one of those showers can produce some significant rainfall in a short period of time. It's also being aided by some leftover moisture from what was Pacific Hurricane Enrique. We'll move forward here into the upcoming holiday weekend. This is the Friday morning forecast map, Friday afternoon. Now still a lot of moisture hanging on, and it'll be cooler than normal by the time we get to Friday afternoon in the Mid-Atlantic region. Still unsettled with occasional showers and potential thunderstorms, and even on Friday there can be a threat for some heavy rainfall. And then we'll move into the upcoming weekend, and notice here a batch of showers showing up on the GFS, and that is totally reasonable when you see that upper level low sitting right on top of the region as we begin the 4th of July weekend. This is on Saturday, the 3rd of July. Absolutely can see some shower and thunderstorm activity on Saturday in the Mid-Atlantic region. Weather tends to improve, though, by the time we get into Sunday. Still the chance of a shower or thunderstorm, but better weather on Sunday as compared to Saturday in the Mid-Atlantic region. Still cooler than normal, and probably the best weather will again be on Monday with the return of some sunshine in the Mid-Atlantic region. Temperatures will go back up above the 80-degree mark into the 80s by Monday afternoon. And after that, later next week, we'll be monitoring, I'm sure, that tropical system that is now out over the central part of the Atlantic Ocean, and soon it will be headed into very warm waters in the Caribbean Sea. We'll have to watch that next week, perhaps into the following week. Certainly the first half of July, dominant story may be tropical activity for the Gulf of Mexico, the southeastern U.S. especially, focused in on that area. The threat will be focused in on that area. That's it for now. For ParatonWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.